Coming up on SportsCenter, the Marlins with another big free agent catch.
I was a little worried when they signed all this guy. I said, they're going to run out of money and maybe they don't want me anymore.
The Cy Young was worth more money in Toronto. The Pack has Reggie seeing green on a new contract. And how much would it be worth if Boomer got to play one more game? The Pro Bowl selections are in, some familiar faces and some new. In our cover story, a look at a rookie already answering the questions of the NBA elite.
That's the message that I really want to send to all point guards in the league. And that they know when they play against me, I'm going to go at them.
And Keith Booth pays his toll, becoming one of the nation's best seniors. SportsCenter next. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SportsCenter. I'm Larry Beal, along with Brett Haber. It seems like Christmas has come early for owners. They've been pleading poverty for years. Now it seems like a daily struggle to see who can write the biggest checks.
Yeah, that's right, and nobody has been writing bigger checks than the guy down in Florida at the moment. It was barely a week ago that the Expos forked over the cash to keep Felipe Alou for 4 more years. But when it came time to re-sign the skipper's son, Moises, the small market Expos found their account had insufficient funds. The Florida Marlins, who have been perhaps the most free-spending team this offseason, have landed the younger Alou, the .281 hitting outfielder, who will get in the neighborhood of $5 million over a 5-year deal. And that's a pretty nice neighborhood.
We had a few other offers, and the Marlins, they made it easier because they looked that they were committed to get me. I mean, that was the team that looked that they really wanted me. And the situation here is great. I mean, with the team that we're going to have right now, I mean, there's no way that we at least go to the playoffs.
It is a rather impressive shopping cart the Marlins have filled up this offseason. On top of Alou, they've already signed Alex Fernandez, Bobby Bonilla, and Jim Eisenreich. Their total free agent expenditures, $89 million since October alone. Now Jim Leyland just has to get them to win. Other signings of note, Peter Gammons reports that Mike Boardwalk is now a member of the Baltimore Orioles. The deal reportedly for $9 million over 3 years. That would appear to pave the way to move Cal Ripken to third, the experiment they tried for a little while last year. Also, Tim Neering has turned down an Indians offer of $11 million over 3 years to play second base for that team. But Neering does want to play third base for them and has gone back to Boston, offering to play that position for 2 years with incentives for $5.5 million. The two sides have now struck a deal on that bargain. Other signings. The Houston Astros lock up outfielder Derek Bell with a new contract. Bell, who turned 28 yesterday, batted .263, 17 home runs, 113 ribbies, no money announced. The Blue Jays rewarded ace pitcher Pat Henkin for winning the Cy Young Award by agreeing to a new contract extension through 2001. He went 20-10 last year, posting more than a quarter of the team's wins. The Rangers have agreed to terms with second baseman Mark McLemore to keep him in town through 99. 32-year-old batted .290 with 5 homers last year and led the team with 26 steals. And the Twins have signed free agent pitcher Bob Tewksbury. Former Padre inks a 1-year free agent deal plus a club option for 98. But wait, there's more. In print, Eddie Murray may sign with the Angels if the Orioles fail to offer him a deal. Murray rejoined Baltimore, as you may recall, in the middle of last season and collected his 3,000th hit with them. Kind of fitting. Also, left-hander David Wells apparently has 3 offers on the table. The Yankees, Blue Jays, and Indians all want his services. He'll choose from amongst those 3. The Orioles have said they are no longer interested. Larry?
Football news now, and this may be the best news that Brett Favre has received this season. The Green Bay quarterback won't ever have to worry about Reggie White sacking him. White has signed a new contract to remain a Packer for life, 5 years, $19 million. The Minister of Defense just made the Pro Bowl for the 11th consecutive year. White, the all-time NFL sack leader. The Packers raised a few eyebrows when they signed White away from the Eagles in 1993. White will turn 35 next week. Acknowledged he probably could have gotten more money on the open market as a free agent, but he wanted to stay in Green Bay.
I feel appreciated. I feel like the people around here and that's a part of this team really appreciate Reggie White, not just for being a football player, but for the type of person that not only he is, but his wife and his family is. This is America's team because how much people love this team, and a lot of people are glad to see us back playing the way that we are, and hopefully we can give them a championship.
Since Reggie arrived, the Packer defense has improved steadily in the NFL rankings. This season, Green Bay is second only to Carolina in points allowed per game at 14.1. White himself only has 5.5 sacks this season, but he is the first guy opposing offenses will try to neutralize. Brett?
People often ask the same two questions about the NFL Pro Bowl and why it differs from the 3 other major All-Star games. 1, why is it held after the season as opposed to in mid-season? And 2, why is it played in the same place every year when the other games alternate sites? As for the timing question, given the physical nature of football, players don't want to risk injury mid-season. And as for the location, with the possible exception of my co-anchor, why would any sane person who found themselves in Hawaii want to change that? Calm yourself. The annual Pro Bowl selections came out today. Brett Favre will start at quarterback for the NFC. Packers QB leads the conference in completions and passing yardage. His quarterback rating is a cool 94.1. Barry Sanders leads the running back department. His 1,300 yards rushing is tops in the NFC. He's got 10 touchdowns on the ground. He averages an amazing 5 yards every time he carries the ball. Also, Jerry Rice makes the grade for a record 11th time. He leads the conference with 95 receptions, also 6th in total yards from scrimmage. The 5 men ahead of him in that department, all running backs. And Wesley Walls gets the nod as the top tight end. The 8-year vet has 50 catches this season to lead all players at his position. That is also good for tops on the Carolina roster. As for the rest of the NFC offense, Troy Aikman and Steve Young will back up Favre. Young gets the nod despite missing those 4 starts. Terry Allen will start at running back. His understudies will be Ricky Watters and Larry Centers at the fullback position. As for the men catching the ball, Herman Moore makes his 3rd appearance. The Rams' Isaac Bruce makes his Pro Bowl debut. And tight end Keith Jackson appears for the 7th time. We'll give you the linemen later in the show. As for the defense, Minnesota's John Randall gets the nod at defensive tackle. He's got 10.5 sacks this season, and his 58 sacks over the last 5 years clearly had a cumulative effect on the voters. Carolina's Kevin Green has 13.5 sacks. That leads the conference this year, and he leads the linebacking core in the NFC. Green and his teammate Lamar Lathan are 1-2 in sacks. And Arizona's Aeneas Williams leads the secondary. Williams has 5 interceptions this year. He will start at cornerback for the NFC. Rest of that conference's defense is as follows. Reggie White joins Jerry Rice, as Larry told you about, as an 11-time Pro Bowl selectee. Tony Tolbert and Bryant Young both make their Pro Bowl debuts. They will both start. As for the linebackers, we told you about Lamar Lathan. He and Kevin Green have combined for 26 sacks in Carolina. Sam Mills gets his 5th selection. He'll start on the inside. Hardy Nickerson gets the nod from Tampa Bay. In the secondary, Deion Sanders goes to the Bowl for the 5th time. He'll start at corner. Teammate Darren Woodson goes for the 3rd time at safety. Leroy Butler, Merton Hanks, and Eric Davis round out the secondary. Larry, what do you have?
Glad you asked. The Denver Broncos led the AFC with 7 players named to the Pro Bowl. Top of the list, quarterback John Elway, who's led Denver to the league's best record at 12-2. Elway is joined by running back Terrell Davis. He leads the AFC in rushing with more than 1,400 yards. Davis averages 4.7 yards per carry. As for the wideouts, Bengals wide receiver Carl Pickens, he's 3rd in the league with 92 receptions. That's best in the AFC. He will be a starter at wide receiver. Pickens has 11 TD catches this season. At tight end, the AFC will start Denver's Shannon Sharp. And no real surprise there. Sharp has hauled in 79 receptions, among them 10 touchdown passes. Here's a look at the AFC roster. Joining Elway at quarterback, Drew Bledsoe and Vinny Testaverde. Yeah, Vinny. He's got 29 TD passes, only 15 picks. Jerome Bettis, Curtis Martin, and Kimball Anders will join Davis in the backfield. At receiver, it's Pickens, Tony Martin from San Diego making his cameo appearance in this game. Tim Brown from Oakland, Keenan McCardle from the Jags also in his 1st year. McCardle doesn't have a big name, but he is the Jags' top pass catcher with 78, and Ben Coates of the Pats will join Sharp at tight end. As we run down the AFC defense now, Bruce Smith will make the trek from snowy Buffalo to the sunshine of Hawaii. Smith has 12.5 sacks. He is the anchor of the Buffalo Bills defense. The man in the middle for the Chargers, of course, is Junior Seau. He is starting at linebacker for the AFC. Seau, an awesome combination of speed and power going to this game for the 6th year. And Rod Woodson, yes, Rod Woodson, the speed is back, and he is back in the Pro Bowl. Special satisfaction for Woodson, who spent most of last year rehabbing a torn ACL. Woodson has 6 interceptions for Pittsburgh this year. As we look at the rest of the AFC roster defensively, the Broncos have 2 D linemen on the squad. Alfred Williams, who's come out of nowhere to lead the AFC with 13.5 sacks, plus Michael Dean Perry, Seattle's Michael Sinclair, and the Tez, Cortez Kennedy, with his 6th appearance, joining Chester McLaughlin of the Raiders up front. Along with Seau at linebacker, the AFC will have Levon Kirkland of the Steelers inside. Fellow Steeler Chad Brown will be rushing the passer from the outside, along with Derek Thomas of Kansas City and Buffalo's Bryce Pop. In the secondary, we've got Bengals cornerback Ashley Ambrose. He's tied for the league lead with 8 picks. He's joined by KC's Dale Carter and Woodson. Steeler Carnell Lake, Steve Atwater from Denver, and Blaine Bishop of the Oilers are the safeties. Now, Eagles defensive tackle Kevin Johnson is not going to the Pro Bowl, nor is he going to play for Philly against the Jets this Saturday. Johnson's been suspended for missing Tuesday's practice and team meetings. It's one thing to lose your job. It's another thing to have your job taken away from you just so you don't achieve your bonus pay. That seems to be what was behind Boomer Esiason's decision to walk out on the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. Today, Esiason returned to the team and he met with head coach Vince Tobin. Boomer will be fined for the 2 days that he missed practice. Esiason was replaced for the 2nd time this season by Kent Graham, and yesterday Boomer said he believed the real reason for the benching was that he was closing in on incentives that could pay him $400,000. But today, Boomer explained his situation.
The incentives, while, you know, if you're really worrying about money, and agents worry about money and lawyers worry about money, you know, that has never been an issue for me. And certainly not being able to attain those things are unfortunate for me and very difficult for me to understand, because I'm not getting the opportunity to play. And I did not want to have all of this to happen. I didn't want to bring my case to the media. I wasn't trying to defame anybody or degrade anybody. That I wanted to do it professionally, man to man. And that's when I left yesterday, I was expecting a call 2 hours later saying that, you know, Boomer, we've honored your request and we respect all that you've done for us, and we have released you.
Well, they wouldn't release him. In fact, he is back with the team. Boomer needs 145 yards passing to break 2,300 for the season. That would have been a $100,000 bonus. He would have gotten another $125,000 for playing 60% of the snaps this year. Other makeable incentives for Esiason would add up to $175K. Some serious dollars here. The Cardinals insist that money has nothing to do with their choice. They just happen to want Kent Graham at quarterback. Brett.
We turn to the college ranks now. Tony Samuel has helped Tom Osborne get the job done at Nebraska for years. Now the folks in New Mexico hope he can get it done by himself there. The Cornhusker assistant was named the new head coach at New Mexico State today. He replaces the outgoing coach Jim Hess, who led State to just 22 wins in 7 years. And Samuel apparently beat out a weighty field of contenders, including former Texas and Purdue coach Fred Akers. He has been a loyal servant to the Cornhuskers, 11 years as their linebackers and defensive ends coach, not to mention the fact that he played there for Tom Osborne back in the mid-'70s. He's known to be a run-stopping specialist. Nebraska's defense was 5th in the nation against the run this year.
As expected, Arkansas State has named Joe Hollis its new head football coach. Hollis has been the offensive coordinator at Ohio State for the past 5 years. He will replace John Bobo, whose team finished 4-7 this season. Hollis will remain at Ohio State until after the Rose Bowl game on New Year's Day. And it seems Grambling head football coach Eddie Robinson will get his wish for one more year, with his 55th season being his farewell tour. Robinson family members tell ESPN that an early morning phone call to Coach Robinson from a Grambling State Board of Trustee member informed the coach that the board supported his wish for one more year. ESPN News has learned, and Stephen Perry, Louisiana Governor Mike Foster's chief of staff, does confirm that a proposal will be offered that will call for search committees to be formed at Grambling to find a new athletic director and a new head coach who will work with Eddie next year, then take over for him when he retires. Brett?
Well, there may be a reason, after all, that Allen Iverson is shooting just 39% from the field. Something about playing with a separated shoulder has that kind of effect on an athlete. Iverson suffered the injury back on November 15th, and while he thought he could play through the pain, apparently he can't. The Sixers rookie had x-rays on the shoulder today, and while they came back negative, he will not travel with the team this weekend. The earliest he could return is next Tuesday at home against the Hornets.
Despite the shooting woes, Iverson has really electrified his team, and that is saying something when you consider his team is the 76ers. Allen Iverson left college early to go pro, and in tonight's cover story, he's letting everybody know that he is ready.
That's the message that I really want to send to all point guards in the league, that they know when they play against me, I'm going to go at them all night.
Iverson with a nice hesitation move. He'll be tonight's cover story. And there's a change at the top of the Pacific Division. Here come the Lakers and the Shaq attack. Nightlights straight ahead.
It's just like MJ said to me last week. Penny Hardaway has unlimited potential. Unlimited.
Yeah, right. MJ said that?
Yes, but you're missing the whole point. It's your team this season, Penny. Your team. It's time for you to take your game to a whole nother level.
When did you talk to Jordan?
At my celebrity golf tournament, the Little Penny Classic. He kills me off the tee, but I get him on the greens.
Coors Light, the silver bullet. It's shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. Tap the Rockies! The new Coors Light wide mouth can is here with a giant opening for a smoother pour.
I'm an inventor of one of the world's strongest fibers, Kevlar. I started the work in 1964. It proved to be a time of great joy, of frustration. Kevlar is used in ski racing, in helmet, golf, tennis rackets, bullet-resistant vests. I'm still working for DuPont. Every day is a new learning experience.
Better things for better living.
DuPont.
This is all your fault.
How was I supposed to know?
You said the Betsy Wetsy dolls are the future.
How was I supposed to know?
You read the wish list. It was all high-tech stuff.
Well, you told the big guy about Office Depot. How was I supposed to know?
This holiday, everyone is turning to Office Depot for innovative gifts from U.S. Robotics, like the Sportster and PC card modems and Conference Link speakerphone. Best prices guaranteed.
We could start our own small business, as long as we don't get in over our heads.
Nightlights is brought to you by Subaru. Test drive the Subaru Outback, the world's first sports utility wagon.
17 seconds in the two-man advantage. Down low, Gretzky for Graves. Save, rebounded on the save. Oh, great goaltending by Tommy Salo. Open man Kovalov. He turns and he shoots. Save, Salo. Plays it ahead. Kovalov toward the net off the skate. That shot, Salo with a save to Rob Gretzky.
Even the horn went off here, Sam. They thought that was automatic. Now the Penguins trying to break back the other way with the man advantage. Here's Lemieux from the angle. Shot, scores!
Back to the plate. There's no way. Not even he can see on the back of his head.
Francis to Mario, and he scores on the back door. Mario Lemieux, second of the night.
Primo after it. There's Vela. Primo steals. Emerson all alone in front. Great stop. The rebound. Scores! Keith Primo! Rice behind the goal. Centers in front. Emerson looking for it. Primo there. Oh, they score!
Now backing in and Shaq.
No teams do.
He turns. So the 6-footer is good. He's fouled. Tries to dribble. Can. Pumps into a body. Spots him. Oh, what a play by Byron Scott. He throws the lane.
Here defensively. Nice cut. On the give and go. Kittle slams it down. Beautifully done.
David leaves it for the game. No. Rebound. Tipped. Raj has got it. To Fox. Yes! Boston wins.
On Kukoc. And a good screen for Jordan for his buddy Pippen, who Jordan calls the best all-around player in the NBA.
Now, while you're mulling over those NBA highlights, according to that league's rule book, the maximum fine for a player is $25,000. Dennis Rodman's suspension is costing him $104,878 large. That disparity has led the NBA Players Union to make a public plea to Rodman to file a grievance over his 2-game suspension. The Bulls took it upon themselves to bench Rodman without pay following his, well, let's just call it a profanity-laced tirade last week. The union says the team might be trying to limit Rodman's playing time so as to to decrease the possibility he'll reach bonus plateaus. Kind of sounds like Boomer Esiason. The union even offered to represent the worm if he does decide to take legal action.
Again,
it's the question Kevin McHale and the T-Wolves got tired of asking. Now it's P.J. Carlissimo's turn in Portland. The question, what's going on with Isaiah Ryder? Again. Ryder walked out of practice yesterday. The Blazers say they have no idea why he left early. Ryder missed the team's shoot-around early Tuesday, sat out the first quarter of Wednesday night's 99-93 loss to Orlando. He's been suspended for tonight's game against Vancouver. Ryder's recent troubles are the first since he was suspended for the season opener after failing to show up for the team's final exhibition game. And the beat goes on. When SportsCenter continues, we trade elbows with John Feinstein under the boards. One of the most underrated players in the country coming up.
Good eye, Uncle. Need a lift? Nice car, kid. It's my Subaru Outback Sport. Another Outback? Same all-wheel drive traction as yours. Better gas mileage than a Cherokee Sport. That's fine, but can she Alcorn or RAV4? No problem. Smart boy. Must run in the family. Outback Sport. The newest Outback from Subaru.
I'm Lenny Dykstra for Reedman World Auto Center, where you can get the best of the best, forget the rest, and come to Reedman.
Shop Reedman, and you'll find the largest selection of certified used cars and trucks. Enjoy easy credit on whatever kind of used automobile you're looking for, along with certified factory mechanics to accommodate all makes and models. Come and drive the car of your choice on our own test track. Visit Reedman today, the area's largest dealership.
So don't make an error. Come home to Reedman.
Reedman World Auto Center, Route 1, Langhorne, Pennsylvania.
If you visit A1 Limousine, the first thing you'll notice is just how big it is. In fact, A1 Limousine is the third largest limousine service in the entire nation. The second thing you'll see is our fleet of over 200 late model vehicles. Inside our headquarters, you'll find state-of-the-art facilities dedicated to ensuring you the service you deserve. These are the things you'll see if you visit A1 Limousine. Of course, you'll never have to, because we'll come to you. A1 Limousine, for people going places.
Saturday, a three-course serving of college hoops. First at noon, All-Conference center Mark Jackson and Temple try to tame Tulsa. Then at 5, the action heads south as Texas Tech hooks up with the Horned Frogs of TCU. At 8:30, backcourt magicians take the stage when the UMass Minutemen head down Tobacco Road to tilt with Wake Forest. Temple Tulsa at noon, Texas Tech TCU at 5, UMass Wake Forest at 8:30. Saturday on ESPN.
SportsCenter is brought to you by Coors Light, proud partner of the John Wayne Cancer Institute. To join in the fight against cancer, call 1-888-700-DUPE. By DuPont, better things for better living. And by Office Depot, taking care of business for companies of every size, everywhere, every day.
The University of Illinois basketball team won a game but lost a key player. The Illini blew out Chicago State 94-57 last night, but after learned that senior forward Jerry Hester will likely need back surgery to correct a herniated disc. Hester was averaging 14 points and 5.5 rebounds a game this season. Brett?
When Lou Holtz announced he was leaving Notre Dame, he left the school with a vital program and gave no other reason but to quote a Quaker Oats commercial saying, "It's the right thing to do." Which brings us now to the Notre Dame basketball program, which is not especially thriving and quite a long time removed from its last appearance in the dance. John Feinstein wonders what the right thing to do is in that part of the athletic department as he heads under the boards.
Texas Tech went 30-2 last year and beat North Carolina in the second round of the NCAA tournament to reach the Sweet 16. Everybody said, nice job, but obviously the Red Raiders were going to be a one-year wonder. After all, All-American Jason Sasser and 3 other starters were gone. But with Tony Battie back in the middle, with Corey Carr now starting instead of coming off the bench where he averaged 16 points a game last year, the Red Raiders have picked up right where they left off. They're already 5-0 with wins at George Washington and over New Mexico right after New Mexico beat Arizona. It looks like, outside of Kansas, they may very well be the best team in the new Big 12. The flip side of James Dickey and Texas Tech is John McLeod at Notre Dame. Remember, Digger Phelps was run off in 1991 because he didn't make the NCAA tournament that year, even though he'd been 15 times out of 19 previously. Well, McLeod hasn't reached the NCAAs once, and he's now in his 6th season. Moving to the Big East was supposed to be a boon for Notre Dame's recruiting. Last year, the Irish were 9-18, 4-14 in the league, and they started league play last weekend with an embarrassing 82-59 loss at Providence. Everyone knows McLeod can coach. The question is, how long does Notre Dame stick with him through the losses and the empty seats in the Athletic and Convocation Center? The real turnaround program in college basketball this season is Mississippi State, and Coach Richard Williams isn't the least bit happy about it. Last year, the Bulldogs were in the Final Four. They beat Kentucky in the Southeast Conference Final, and they were 26-8. Williams knew he was going to lose 2 starters, thought he might lose junior Eric Dampier, but didn't really expect to lose Dante Jones, who turned pro a year early, and Marcus Bullard, who was thrown out of school after an assault charge. He should have been back for 2 years at point guard. Now Williams has a team with 5 brand new starters. As he puts it, some programs can lose 3 undergraduates in a year and keep on going. We can't lose 3 undergraduates and be any good. The good news for Mississippi State is that all their starters will be back next year. On the other hand, that might be the bad news, too. If you're looking for underrated players, you might want to start right here at the University of Maryland with Keith Booth. On Monday night, Booth started his 100th consecutive college basketball game. That means he's got something very few players in the country have nowadays. Experience. Lots of it. He knows how to play. He knows how to make big plays in the clutch. Booth tends to be overlooked by pro scouts because he's 6'5" and plays a low-post game. Doesn't matter. He will be a dominant player in the ACC this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if when it's all said and done, he's a first-round draft pick next June. He's that tough and plays both ends of the floor. For ESPN, I'm John Feinstein. I'll see you next week under the boards.
John, thanks. Still ahead on the show, Heisman Trophy notwithstanding, Danny Werfel may collect a room full of hardware. We'll preview tonight's awards coming up.
For the gold, the new Rebel G. Get the ultimate rush.
Will she say, I love it? You shouldn't have. It's just what I wanted. Or will she say, nothing at all? The diamond solitaire necklace. This Christmas goes straight for the heart.
The new IBM Aptiva at Radio Shack with 3D games, 3D internet, and home director. It's no ordinary computer. No ordinary computer can make your home look lived in. No ordinary computer is as thoughtful and so nice to come home to. And the IBM Aptiva with Home Director is only available at Radio Shack. It's no ordinary computer. And with special financing, it's no ordinary deal. Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
For those of you filling out your Pro Bowl scorecard, here now the O-line and special teams from the AFC. And speaking of free-for-alls with 22 guys, there's a Bowe Golota fight this weekend. The weigh-in took place today, as seen live on ESPN News. Bowe checking in at 235 lbs. Remember, he weighed 254 for the first fight. Andrew tipped the scales at 239, which is not nearly as relevant as whether or not he can find the area above Riddick's belt. Bowe spoke about fight number 1.
I want to show people that in June or July, the fight I saw that night wasn't the real Riddick Bowe. I have a lot to prove here.
Bowe will dominate Golota. He's going to destroy him. He's going to jump on him like a junkyard dog.
I think my guy's going to win. I think he's going to stop Bowe, and he's going to quit in his corner.
I'd like to thank both fighters for wearing respectable undergarments for a change. Here's the tail of the tape on Riddick and Andrew. 235 for Bowe, the lightest he's been since his first fight with Evander Holyfield in '92. And nearly 20 pounds lighter than in Bowe Golota 1. Bowe is an inch taller, but Golota has the 3-inch reach advantage. They've each lost only once in their pro careers.
Football coaches come and go. That's just the way the business works. But at Boise State, they only wish it was that simple. Beloved Boise State coach Pokey Allen has resigned as head coach there after learning that his cancer has returned. Allen spent 3 months this fall in Vancouver, British Columbia, undergoing alternative treatments for lung cancer. Yesterday, a CAT scan showed tumors on Allen's lungs had grown significantly.
There are 2 courses of action you can take when your football team has had 12 straight losing seasons. One is the school can rededicate itself to fixing the program and rebuilding a winning tradition. Austin Peay has chosen the other option. As of 1998, the school will no longer offer football scholarships and downgrade itself to a 1AA program. The Governors, as they are called, last had a winning team back in 1984, and that includes a 1-10 mark this year. Larry.
On Saturday, Florida quarterback Danny Wuerffel is expected to walk off with a Heisman Trophy award. He may have his hands full by then because tonight Wuerffel is also expected to walk off with plenty of hardware at the Home Depot College Football Awards show. Chris Fowler will be your host from Orlando. Chris?
Larry, thank you. Welcome to Disney MGM Studios Sunset Boulevard. And guys, after the sun sets here in Orlando, following the Pro Bowl selection show, we will hand out 11 prestigious college football awards for throwing, running, catching, blocking, tackling, coaching, studying, everything. First up, the Passers, the Davey O'Brien Award for the top senior quarterback, 3 strong candidates.
Oh, one of the nominees, Jake Plummer. Don't forget, Arizona State 11-0 season. Jake Plummer was the man that orchestrated this team. Now, he can hurt you running and throwing. Great scrambling ability, can get outside, but he also threw a number of touchdowns this year. The thing that really separates Jake Plummer is the leadership. When he gets in that huddle, he takes control, and there's no doubt who's controlling his huddle.
I liked his escapability. Boy, he could get away from that pocket. And talk about a quarterback. Danny Wuerffel, University of Florida, had one of the greatest football seasons in the history of college football. He threw more touchdown passes than anybody except Ty Detmer from BYU. He got hit 35 times against Florida State, got hit every time, beat Alabama with 6 touchdown passes. The next week, Danny Wuerffel, great quarterback, University of Florida.
And Sarkisian actually edged him out, the 4th best season all-time efficiency-wise. Now, Wuerffel is a candidate for about everything, including the governor of Florida. Also a candidate for the Maxwell Award of the best overall player. You got a passer, runner, and a blocker for this one.
Speaking of runner, Troy Davis from Iowa State's a tremendous football player. Had over 2,000 yards twice in his career in a row. The only man to ever do that. Ran the ball over 400 times, shows his durability. He's also from Miami, Florida. From Iowa State, Troy Davis, great football player.
You know, we got Danny Wuerffel, we got Troy Davis, some marquee big playmakers. But if you think of an offensive lineman, you don't think of the player of the year. That within itself is something to be said for Orlando Pace. Initially, he caught everybody's eye because of his size. He's 6'6", 325 pounds, and his power. He had 74 pancakes. But the thing that puts Orlando Pace in a class of his own is his athleticism. His footwork is something that a lot of people have never seen.
The Maxwell, often a predictor of the Heisman Trophy. It's been that way 6 of the last 8 years. A lot of former greats in the audience tonight, including Chuck Bednarik, who carries the name of the Defensive Player of the Year. A couple of strong linebacker candidates.
Well, Jared Irons out of Michigan has had a tough year to overcome some injuries, but he's put up some big numbers. The thing that you can say about him, he's a competitor. When it's a big game, look for number 37 from Michigan to step up. And the thing about this guy is he's a leader 4 years straight for a great Michigan defense.
You talk about a leader. Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern, great football player. Cinderella, too. Never thought Northwestern could tie for the Big Ten championship this year. The leader on the defense, Pat Fitzgerald, great linebacker.
Yeah, he won the award last year, accepted it on crutches. Happy to report Pat is healthy for tonight's show. Should be a lot of fun. A night of gridiron greats right after the Pro Bowl selection show from Orlando. Back now to the studio.
All right, thanks, Chris. And as you just mentioned, this is a gridiron great-filled night at 7:30 Eastern. We've got Mike Tirico, Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann hosting the Pro Bowl selection show. Then at 8:30, the Home Depot College Football Awards show. Danny Wuerffel expected to have his name called frequently. That's all tonight on ESPN.
Well, as we take another look at our top stories, Wayne Huizenga proves once again that he is unafraid to spend huge sums of money, while the Expos prove once again that they are. Moises Alou agrees to a free agent deal with the Marlins today worth an estimated $25 million. The Expos unable to hang on to Alou despite the fact they re-signed his father as the team's skipper. Alou hit .281 with 21 home runs. Last year it was quiet when he displayed his New Jersey. Contract news from the NFL as well. The Green Bay Packers have locked up Reggie White for the rest of his career. The defensive end signs a new 5-year deal with the team worth an estimated $19 million. White, now 34, has been named to the Pro Bowl 11 times, and that includes Today, White joining Jerry Rice as an 11-time selection. Bengals lineman Anthony Munoz, the only other player to achieve that. The Cowboys led all teams this year with 9 players selected to the game.
When SportsCenter continues, the Vikings have hitched their playoff wagon to Brad Johnson. A report from Minnesota on the quarterback of the future and the present. Coming up.
Hey, what's up, man? All right.
Who is that?
Oh, man, check it out. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Stay cool.
The magic of Disney's new 101 Dalmatians movie swept the land, and McDonald's near and far are celebrating with 4 wonderfully festive snow domes. Each snow dome only $1.99 when you buy any extra value meal or new deluxe sandwich. Now everyone can treasure and share the snow domes, but hurry, for there is one who would have them all for herself. The fun is unleashed at McDonald's, your Dalmatian location.
Get your snow cones. Yeah, Blueberry, here you go, buddy. Ooh, dude, that won't hurt you. Snow cones, get your official NHL snow cones. Come on, they're really good.
Gentlemen, stand back. It's heads.
It's huge. Seattle and Jacksonville kick it off on ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
More Pro Bowl picks as we run down the NFC offensive linemen. 4 Cowboys are Hawaii bound. A special extra size helping of poi awaiting the kitchen. Nate Newton.
When the Vikings chose Brad Johnson to finish the season at quarterback in favor of Warren Moon, didn't have so much to do with injury as it did the fact that they believed that Johnson was better suited to lead the team into the playoffs. Turns out they might be right. He led the offense to a 24-point output against the Lions last week, and this week, as Andrea Kramer reports, it is their old pal Tony Dungy who may stand between the Vikings and the playoffs.
The Vikings have a 13-6 record in the month of December, tied with San Francisco for best in the NFL since 1992. They need victories against Tampa and Green Bay to guarantee a playoff spot, and yet they've never won their final 4 games in team history.
And we're a team that sees ourselves as a playoff team and a team that should be in the playoffs. And to do that, you have to be able to play well in December. So that was the case in '92, and that's still the case in 1996.
We've never had a big game with Tampa before. And that would, I think the players, I think they realize that yes, it is Tampa, but we still have a big game because they are playing well. And we know our situation, regardless of who we play, it's a big game for us.
In Week 7, the Vikings lost to Tampa 24-13. They had no problems moving the ball, but were killed by penalties and turnovers, 2 areas that must improve against a Buck defense, which is now ranked 9th overall and 3rd against the pass.
At that time, we were winning some games, but we were having a lot of turnovers. We were having a lot of penalties, and we're not doing that now. Our penalties are cut way down. Our turnovers are cut way down, and so we think we're a much better team.
What's been the key for us the last 4 or 5 ball games when we've been playing well now is that we've had a running game. We've been very efficient on first and second down passing, so if we stay away from penalties and turnovers, we'll be okay.
Speaking of Johnson, the league's leading passer will be a free agent at the end of the season, and to that end, his agent will be having his first face-to-face contract negotiating session with the team on Friday. Johnson's already rejected a $2.5 million a year offer, and he should get in excess of $3 million, whether from the Vikings or another team. In Minnesota, I'm Andrea Kramer, ESPN.
Andrea, thanks much. Still to come on the program, Kevin Green made the Pro Bowl today, you know that, but his teammates have another bowl on their minds. More on that when Larry and I come on back for some pulling.
Just because something hasn't been done before, does that mean it can't be done?
The Chrysler Concorde LXI, cab forward design, driver adaptive transmission, independent touring suspension, highest resale value. And now, receive $1,500 cash back. The Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that anything can be done. What's new in your world?
I'll see man at his best. And children at their brightest. I'll feel the power and the glory of a great story on a super flat system screen that adds dimension. A dome sound system that surrounds me, and I'll direct it all from the palm of my hand.
The new Super Flat System TV from Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
2 countdowns for the price of 1 this weekend. The NFL plays games Saturday and Sunday this weekend, so Chris Berman and the gang will pull double duty their own self. Saturday morning, they'll preview the waning playoff hopes of the Eagles and Chargers. Don't miss that. 11:30 Saturday morning, and then Sunday, it's the regular edition, including a chat with Packers QB Brett Favre and Carolina's Kerry Collins, who is rapidly becoming a bona fide star himself. Bona fide star. All that Sunday morning here on the network.
After beating the 49ers for the second time this season, there is no doubt now the Carolina Panthers are for real. Today, the Panthers tied for the second most players named to the Pro Bowl, most of those on defense. And as Chris Mortensen reports, D is the key to their success.
If the Carolina Panthers are pinching themselves this week, excuse them. Coming off the biggest win in their brief franchise history, a victory over the San Francisco 49ers that puts them in position to win the NFC West, the Panthers were greeted Thursday with the news that they had an astounding 7 players elected to the NFC Pro Bowl squad. The Panthers Pro Bowl selections validated their 10-4 season and reflected the strength of the team. Defense and special teams, including 3 starters at linebacker, Kevin Green and Lamar Lathan, who have combined for 26 sacks, and 37-year-old wonder middle linebacker Sam Mills. The Panthers were hoping for good news on the injury front as well. Left tackle Blake Brockermeyer, out because of thumb surgery, could return, and wide receiver Musa Muhammad, who's been out with a hamstring injury, is probable for Sunday's game. The biggest challenge for the Panthers is not getting caught up in their own success and overlooking the 4-10 Baltimore Ravens. But here's what the Panthers have going for them. They were unbeaten at home, and the last time they beat the 49ers this season, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Reporting from Ericsson Stadium in Charlotte, I'm Chris Mortensen, ESPN.
Thanks, Chris. The Panthers are creating tradition. The Packers, they've already got their long and storied history. Join us next Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern as ESPN presents Outside the Lines, Inside Titletown, USA. Bob Lee looks at the devotion of Packer fans and the uniqueness of Green Bay as an NFL city. When SportsCenter continues, Jerry Rice constantly rewriting the record book, and no surprise, his Pro Bowl accomplishments are right at the top. The NFL Elite coming up.
Beware of Old Man Winter. Whether you drive a car, a truck, or a van, STS Tire and Auto Centers have Ice Cruncher tires to help you tame winter's worst conditions. We're loaded with inventory of top-quality ice and snow tires priced to move. STS has Tire Price Assurance, which guarantees you the right price on your tire purchase. Winter won't wait, so check the white pages for the STS location nearest you. STS, yes.
History Channel world premiere. You're in command of a B-17. B-47s rip open your pathway to destiny, and you're on the most dangerous mission of your life.
Watch that fighter coming in 3 o'clock.
You're part of the showdown in the sky that will ultimately lead to Germany's ruin. Mission Berlin on History Sunday with Roger Mudd. Premieres Sunday night at 9 on the History Channel.
4 hours of sports news is a wonderful idea. That way you can have sports coverage of everyone, not just the headline grabbers, but all God's children. The less talented, the less athletically gifted. Of course, I wouldn't focus entirely on them. Maybe once a month, late at night. Are you guys showing any of those blooper reels? I love seeing some guy get a fastball to the groin.
One injury note to pass along. The Washington Redskins placed their defensive end Sterling Palmer on injured reserve today. The 6'5", 287-pound Palmer suffered a knee injury. He has missed the last 3 games in a total of 8 games this season. Brett?
Well, the Dallas Cowboys led all teams today with 9 players chosen to the Pro Bowl, although Emmitt Smith was not among them. Emmitt's 6-year string thus comes to an end, just one of several surprises in today's announcements. For the others, we turn to our team in Orlando, led by Mike Tirico. Mike.
Welcome inside the ESPN Club at Disney's Boardwalk Resort with Joe Theismann and Tom Jackson. We start our evening of Gridiron Greats at 7:30 Eastern, the Pro Bowl selection show. You just got to see most of the names. There are 84 players. Which players are notable by their absence, Tom?
Well, I think you begin with the numbers that some of the running backs put up. I look at Terrell Davis and certainly think that one of his offensive linemen beside Gary Zimmerman should have been on this team, in particular Mark Schlereth. And then anyone from the Washington offensive line, when you look at what Terry Allen accomplished, although I understand when you look at the turn for the worst that the Washington Redskins season took the second half of the season.
Well, I think also Dan Marino. I mean, when's the last time Dan Marino's name hasn't been mentioned in a Pro Bowl? And it really has to do with he's captain of a rookie ship, and also there's an emphasis on running. That's not something that's part of Dan's repertoire. Also, Irving Fryer, a career-high 80 catches with 9 touchdowns, and I think that had a lot to do with the game that we broadcast on ESPN. He had 3 drops in that game, and I think it might have influenced some of the balloting.
That game was a week ago. The players and coaches turned in their ballot right after the games of this weekend. Joe, the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia's been passed by them in the standings. The Cowboys still send 9 Pro Bowlers, even though their big names aren't having big seasons.
Yeah, Mike, but you know what's amazing about that? They send 9, but really it could have been 12, possibly 13 if Jay Novacek was healthy. Think Leon Lett, certainly a Pro Bowler. Emmitt Smith, Pro Bowler. Michael Irvin, Pro Bowler. Those 3 guys are missing from this. That means it could have been 12, and like we say, Novacek healthy, it goes to 13. That's incredible.
Dallas sends the most players. Second, Carolina, the Panthers with 7. What a day it must be in Charlotte for this second-year franchise.
Combination of great players fitting into the system, and I think you look at Dom Capers, what he's been able to do, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Kevin Green and Sam Mills familiar with his system, so you bring in guys who know what you like to do, but you bring in guys who you know physically can do it.
4 teams did not send players to the Pro Bowl: the Jets, the Giants, the Falcons, and the Bears. And there's a guy on the Jets who maybe deserves to go, Tommy.
Well, I think Adrian Morrell, when you look at the numbers, you see a guy who put up the numbers to qualify to be a Pro Bowl selection. However, his team has not had the success. They've only won 1 game, and that, quite frankly, is just not going to get it.
Well, how about a couple of rookies? I mean, there are no rookies in this game, but you think of Eddie George, the job he did down in Houston, really carrying that football team for the largest part of the season. And then Terry Glenn. That's when Drew Bledsoe's game started to raise itself to another level, when Terry Glenn all of a sudden jumped up and became the go-to man for the New England Patriots.
His teammate Curtis Martin was the only rookie to go last year. Did another running back who's a rookie deserve to go this year?
Well, I think Mike Allstott had a tremendous season and great impact for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had a lot of it when Eric Rett was not in the lineup. I think he certainly was deserving, but he's a rookie, so I think that may have played a role in him not going.
I'll tell you, there's a guy who's not a rookie that surprised me, and I certainly think he deserved it, and that's Darryl Green. I think Darryl Green has had the best season that he could have. Don't forget, he did a great job on Michael Irvin on Thanksgiving Day. Usually that's good enough to get you into the Pro Bowl. It's just getting tougher and tougher to get there now.
Some of the great names who did make the Pro Bowl: Brett Favre, Shannon Sharp, Jerry Rice, all those Carolina Panthers. They will join us as our evening of Gridiron Greats starts with the Pro Bowl selection show coming up right after SportsCenter. So we'll see you all in a little bit. Guys?
Okay, Mike, fellas, thanks very much. We look forward to that. It's only about 12 minutes away. They will break down in even more depth the selections from today's voting and selection process. Then at 8:30, it's the Home Depot College Football Awards show. Danny Werfel expected to walk away with a lot of hardware there. Stay tuned for that. Still ahead.